Welcome to this episode of the Homestead Journey Podcast 5-Minute Fridays, your weekly dose of information, inspiration, and motivation. Now, here's your host, Brian Wells.
Thank you, Bonnie, and welcome everyone to another 5-Minute Friday. On today's episode, we are talking about 5 of my favorite one-hit wonders. Now, I've done 2 episodes on versatile products, things that can be used for more than one purpose. But there are a handful of products that I have here on my homestead that I've really only found one purpose for. But what they do very well. And I don't ever want to be without some of these here on the homestead. Now, the first 2 of these do come from Barb Montgomery, one of the supporting listeners. She's the one that I mentioned on last week's episode who sent me an email with the electric fence wire as being a versatile thing. And then she had included these 2 items. The first one being T-posts. Now, I absolutely love T-posts. We use T-posts on our homestead all the time. But besides holding fences up and maybe holding, a waterer in place, I really have never found much use for T-posts. Now, maybe you have, and if you have a lot of versatile ideas with regards to utilizing T-posts, let me know. But T-posts to me are kind of a one-hit wonder. You hold things up with them, and that's pretty much all they're good for. But man, do I love having them around. And I just never seem to have enough. In fact, right now I'm getting ready to go to Tractor Supply and buy another 10 because I need them for a project I'm working on. So T-posts are definitely what I would consider a one-hit wonder, but what they do well. Number 2 is a T-post driver. Now, if you've ever tried to drive T-posts with a sledgehammer, you'll know that is not very fun. That T-post driver is awesome. Now, they come in a lot of different sizes. They have gas-powered ones. There's spring-powered ones. There's ones that are just man-powered ones. Pick one. I've never used any than just the old slam it down and just beat the tar out of the T-post kind of a thing. But it works great. Now, I'd love a spring-loaded one, and man, I would love to have a gas-powered one. I don't put in enough T-posts to justify that, but a T-post driver, I love having it around. But other than driving T-posts, I've never really found much use for it. Number 3 is my pressure canner. I love my pressure canner. In fact, I've got like 5 pressure canners. I've got a couple of All-Americans. I've got a Miro. I don't even know what, from my in-laws. I love my pressure canners. But besides pressure canning and maybe pressure cooking, they're not really versatile. It's a one-hit wonder. I love having them. They do their job great, but it's not like you do much with them besides canned stuff. The third thing on my list is my Whiz Bang chicken plucker. Now, my Whiz Bang chicken plucker is a homemade contraption that I built using a 55-gallon drum to pluck chickens. And there are plans for it online. Now, when I built that 4 or 5 years ago, that was when there really wasn't a lot of, we'll call them Homestead type pluckers available. If you wanted a plucker, you needed to buy a Featherman, and it was a couple of $1,000. Today, I would probably buy one of the ones that you can get at Tractor Supply for $400 or $500. But a chicken plucker, whether it's a Whiz Bang or it's one you buy at Tractor Supply, it does one thing well. It plucks poultry, but it does it well. And I don't ever want to go back to plucking poultry by hand. Number 5 on my list of kind of one-hit wonders is my Premier One poultry netting. Absolutely love it. Well, I shouldn't say I absolutely love it. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it, but I'm certainly glad to have it around. But it only does one job. It either keeps things in or it keeps things out. It doesn't do much more than that, but what it does well, and I'm certainly glad to have it here on the homestead. What are some of the things that you enjoy using on your homestead that maybe aren't all that versatile, that you can't do a lot of different things with, but what it does well? Let me know. Reach out to me, Brian, at thehomesteadjourney.net. And just like we did with the versatile items, I'll do a follow-up with the one-hit wonders. For today's Journey Quote of the Week, it comes from Minaj Bajpayee, and I hope I haven't butchered that too badly, but it says this: struggle teaches you a lot of things, and I am happy that I witnessed a roller coaster ride. The journey has improved me as a person and made me more mature. All right, folks, I'll catch you on the next 5 Minute Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Brian can be reached by emailing him at brian@thehomesteadjourney.net or by contacting him via our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support this podcast, we invite you to become a member of the Supporting Listeners program. For $10 a month or $100 per year, you will receive access to a community of like-minded individuals via a private Facebook group, at least one monthly live Q&A with Brian, the opportunity to participate in live recordings of the podcast, access to an ever-expanding library of helpful homesteading content, and so much more. Head on over to support.thehomesteadjourney.net for more information and to sign up today. As always, the music on this episode was provided by audionautics.com, so a big shout out to them.
And until next time, everybody, keep up the good work.